Good afternoon. Today's Saturday, July 15th, and we are at the Grand Canyon Military Vehicle Rally at Idan Greenberg's Sohai Ranch. It's beautiful weather today in the mountains. We're at about 9,000 foot elevation, and it's turning out to be a nice camp out. We didn't get a very large turnout of vehicles here. We've got 4 vehicles to look at. This here is my M43 ambulance. It's got me some new tires on the front. Very nice. $105 a piece at dealer's tire. Can't beat it. One of the tricks on keeping these running, of course, is to not be shy with grease and oil, and as you can see, I use plenty of it. Every moving part in this vehicle is greased and oiled regularly, and that is a big, big trick on keeping these running for a long time. Got my rifle on the rifle mounts. I got a number of these mounts on the vehicle. Very nice. Bought those off of Earl Colton a long time ago for $10 a piece, I might add. You can't get them for that anymore. I've got some emergency lights on the vehicle, as you can see, on top, a strobe and so forth, that I ran on the way down here, up here rather, from Phoenix to keep from getting rammed by these high-speed vehicles and trucks. Worked out pretty well. And the inside of the vehicle is kind of set up for my own use. Got stove, Coleman stove here. Got it kind of camouflaged here, so it's not so obvious. You know, I need to redo this. Okay, I got my bench. So it's pretty nice. It's a good old truck. It certainly runs well if you've got the time to drive it. It's a little slow, but very nice.
I'm Al Barron with MVCC Arizona, and this is a 53 Dodge M37, which I bought from a car dealer in '75. And the motor was blown. There was no canvas on it, no top, no winch, no back end. The cargo box was falling off of it, and I got it for $300, and I've spent the last 20-some years fixing it. And one of the things I did was that V8 engine, which makes it run a little better. And I've got it fixed up mostly as a camper for meets and campouts and stuff like that. Okay, the seats were rebuilt by one of the guys in the club who's got an upholstery shop. He rebuilt them, completely redoes them. And then I mounted in an AM and FM radio. There's a World War II compass in there. And then the motor, the windshield wiper on the left side was changed to electric and rigged up to sweep 120 degrees instead of 90 degrees, so it works like the vacuum motor. I put some overload springs in the back to carry the extra weight because of the camper box. All the stuff that's in there is original. The bows, the seats, the troop seat brackets, everything is still original. Nothing has been modified, except I've added an insulated Arctic tent liner and then built this aluminum shell over it, and then put the bed in there and simply just set it up strictly as a camper so that I can do a little bit better out here in the hills. If for water in the field, you want to wash your hands up for something, simply just turn on the water, get a little water and shut it off. It's all micro switch controlled, and it just like turning on the faucet at home.
Al's got a number of items for sale here that he's brought up from his shop. All kinds of lights, different kinds of parts. He's got a lot more than this, actually. And there's been quite a few people up here, and from what Al said, he's sold a bunch of stuff like usual. He's got different things, manuals, gauges, wiring. We got some gun barrels here. We got an unidentified gun barrel here. It came off a very large gun. We got a 50 barrel over here. They're for sale if somebody's interested in those. This is another sort of a gun mount item here for 50 caliber, obviously.
I got this external light and a blank firing device for the AR-15.
It's pretty interesting stuff. There's his little table that he has on the inside of his door to have your lunch or set your coffee down when you're getting up in the morning. Al's quite creative at setting his stuff up.
Oh, yeah?
1966 Land Rover. And I was out in it this morning. We went out and checked the signs. It is a really neat vehicle, very fast, has a stiff suspension, all aluminum body, heavy undercarriage, and extremely heavy-duty 4-cylinder motor in it. It's original Rover motor, and it's been modified with an electronic ignition. Very tough truck. Quick. It moves around just as quick as a military Jeep. From what I understand, these vehicles were also used by the British military, and I think they may still even use them. Just a very good vehicle all around. It could stand an OD paint job, and some British markings would be really neat for it. But we were out this morning and it was very impressive capability. And that's owned by Ed Hope over here. And there he is. Randy, can you give us a few words about your vehicle over here, please?
Well, it's a 1986 M1009 Cut V. I painted it up in the Navy motif because my son's in the Navy right now. And it's all original except it was converted to 12 volts. It was Desert Storm surplus, I guess, when they auctioned it off. And I was just lucky enough to find it at auction and painted it up as Navy. The first show I took it to, I got a trophy, so it's 100% original except for I put the siren on there for grins.
Hey, give it.
Let's get the 6.2 liter Detroit diesel. It's all original except I converted it to 12 volts.
And you've added air conditioning to this rig, correct?
Yeah, I put an air conditioner on myself. Just as you get older, you like the air conditioner. This is 86, so right now it's 15 years old. It's got 25,000 miles on it. And
wow.
It runs just
low mileage.
Yeah, it runs just like brand new.
I see. And that mesh there is for possibly for prisoners or somebody that's out of control in the back end?
Well, you can say that, but actually it was for when you're hauling cargo and stuff, when you're going down steep grades to keep the equipment from hitting the driver
from flying into
the head.
Right.
But it matches my shore patrol motif.
And how fast will this go on the road?
It goes fast you want to drive it. I don't drive it over 65, but it'll go faster. But it cruises real good 60, 65.
Let's take a look at some of the stuff Randy has for sale out here.
I got manuals for M151s and manuals from my old ambulance. I have a whole host of manuals. If guys want to restore this, the first thing you should do is get an original manual and just odds and ends.
This is one of the creature comforts of coming to Idan Greenberg's ranch. We do have actual rental outhouses. One of them, this show at the ranch. So just so you know, there is some place to relieve yourself. Real nice and clean. We're here at John Papka's camp now. Let's take a look at this tent. It's a pretty interesting item. How long ago did you buy this tent, John?
Oh, geez, probably about 5 years ago.
Out at the base camp, correct?
Yes. Bought it from Greg in Utah. Remember Greg?
I do. Now this is an Arctic tent, actually?
It's a 5-man squad tent.
A little tight for 5 guys in here, I'd say, huh?
You could squeeze 5 guys if you had to,
right,
with cots.
Right.
You couldn't move around or dance, but you could house them.
Let's look inside of John's tent and take a look and see what way he's got it set up. Oh yeah, he's got a stove and his soda sitting there, and he's got his bed set up over here. I've seen him also put a floor in here. I've seen him undo a tarp and have a nice big bed. Very unusual tent. Nice and comfortable for one guy. Nice and comfortable, 1 or 2 people. Very nice tent. Idan, tell us a little bit about your structure here that you've built over your trailer home.
Well, we started a program of thinning out unhealthy pine trees to let more light get to the ground and try to make aspens more the dominant tree in this area. So we had to do something with the pine trees, and the trailer, like most trailers, is flat on top, and we like to leave it here in the wintertime. So we had to get something to keep the snow off, and we thought, why not build a trailer snow shelter as much as possible from the materials at hand. So a few years ago, we got a whole bunch of people together, including some members of this club, and we had a barn raising complete with the ladies making the food and the kids running around, and we built this over 3 successive weekends, just of the materials on hand. We only put in the concrete slab 2 weeks ago. And in the future, even if the trailer goes out of here, it'll make a nice picnic ramada. And so that's basically it, just doing the mostest with the leastest. This is a 1943 Ford GPW. Supposedly it was given to the Army Air Corps during World War II has lived its entire life in Arizona. It was auctioned off by the Arizona Air National Guard in 1960, according to the fellow I bought it from, and sold originally to a rancher who used it as his desert ranch buggy. And he did not change it much. He took out the original seats and repainted it some ugly color, but otherwise kept it mostly original. We used this Jeep to build that snow shelter because that snow shelter was built using entirely hand labor except for the drilling of the holes for the bolts. And we used this Jeep running into the forest to drag the logs into place. And I've never understood why the military eliminated Jeep-sized vehicles, because if we ever get involved in a place with heavy forest, Humvees are not going to cut it. I can see a Humvee as the replacement for the weapons carrier, but not for a Jeep-sized vehicle. And what's surprising about the World War II Jeeps is how right they got the design to begin with. Yeah, they're slow and they ride hard, but they will go into a lot of amazing places.
Towards those lava caves still. We're having a good time. The roads around here are pretty good. It's relatively flat. There's nothing too crazy. Just had some light bumps and some ruts in the road. That's about it. It's no problem for either the Land Rover or the or Idan's MB, Willie's MBG.
Okay, so they passed us, and now we're eating their dust, so I'm wearing this mask. Don, of course, is not wearing a mask, and he's suffering.
Pretty bad, very dusty here. Really handles the bumps well.
I go faster.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Hi, Mom.
We're here at the Lava River Caves, and we're at the entrance of the caves right now. The cave was discovered by lumberjacks in 1915. The average temperature in the cave is 32 to 40 degrees. It's pretty cool down there. I can feel the air coming out of it from here. It's pretty strong. It's about 3/4 of a mile in length. And it looks a little bit short getting down in there, but once you get down in there, it opens up, and we're going to have some flashlights and lights and hopefully be able to get some footage once we get down in there.
Don, why is it so cold down there?
I think they have air conditioners, 6-ton units down at the end, and they're blowing the air up through the caves.
Okay,
I think that's what
special
it is.
for Arizona.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a lot of flashlights. We're okay.
Cool.
Thanks. Okay. Climbing down in
It's
there.
dark in here. It's lit, right?
Yeah, right.
It's lit. Where's the light switch on the wall?
It has those brown little touch ones.
Hey, where's the switch on the wall?
They're no further in.
Okay. Okay, here we go. This is pretty much as bad as it gets down through here, and once you climb on down through here, it opens up and it gets to be where you can just walk along, and it goes for quite a ways. It's pretty nice, and it's only about 20-30 more feet where it starts to open up.
Now, Don, can you get a military vehicle down in here?
I don't think so. I can't think of one that'll make it down through here. Okay, it's pretty big right in here. We're about halfway through the cave, and it starts to get nice and flat. You can actually drive a Jeep through here if you can get it down in here pretty easy. From here on out, it's nice and flat, and it's perfectly rounded in some areas, very symmetrical. And they say it was caused by lava being pushed on through here, but who knows how this was made. They really don't know. It's a geological formation thing. We're going to keep on going and try to make it down to the end.
There. So, as you can see, it's just absolutely stunning. It's... What? You still can't see? Well, then what's the point of videotaping here inside the ice cave? All right, we'll stop.